I asked this person, like, can you give me some sort of assurance that you feel this way or what? And the person point blank said no. And then here I am still feeling like, okay, but I feel like I have peace over this, but there's no commitment from the other person. And the funny thing is that I feel like everyone around me could see it except me. And that's the thing.
That's also a red flag on your part.
I was the Lulu.
And it's just, they're just struggling. And I feel like looking back now, it's like, bruh, like you knew. The same thing for you saw the signs, and even just lifestyle was totally different. And I felt like I just ignored that until.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Ours, mine.
It's all you, baby. It's all you.
So today we have a guest. Well, I'm a guest, but he's really just a very big part of this YouTube channel because we have him on here a lot. And we have a few new subscribers, so we should introduce ourselves again, right? I think. Anyway, you may know me because the channel is named after me, Lydia Zulu, but Sakala. And this is my husband, Josh.
Josh, the mister. To the Sakala part of it. And we just love to have conversations, and so that's what we're gonna do, right? Just have some good fun conversations because we like to do that. Let's see what you have in store.
So before we get started, I'm going to read us a scripture. So I'm gonna read Proverbs 4 verse 23, which says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." And today we're going to be talking about red and green flags in relationships. And I think it's interesting because, obviously before we got together and had this big green flag, or the green flags that allowed us to get to marriage, we may have been red flags in other relationships, or we may have experienced red flags in other relationships that we can share. And also, I think, what do they say, hindsight is 2020. You get to see things when you're looking back and why did I go through that, or why didn't I you see that and that and that was definitely a red flag. But we also get to see the green flags when we're looking back. And so I thought it would be such an interesting conversation to have. What do you think a red flag is?
I think a red flag is like a non-negotiable.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I can't do this. If this is how it's gonna be, then nah. You know what I mean? It's a non-negotiable. It's a, if you know what I mean. I think non-negotiable is just the word that I'd use to say if you see this, it can't work.
I think when you think about the term red flag, it's it's a warning, right? The flag is red. When we see red, it's stop on the traffic lights.
You have, there's no chance it's stop.
It could mean pause. Okay, stop.
I don't know.
But I'm gonna read this definition.
From
so
where?
Here, I don't know, but from ChatGPT. Okay. It says a red flag is a warning sign that something may be unhealthy, unsafe, or harmful in a relationship. And it's a behavior, attitude, or pattern that signals potential problems, especially ones that might get worse over time. And even as we're talking about red flags, it's perfect, right? Anyway, even as we're talking about red flags, we'll start by talking about relationships, but I want us also to broaden it. We'll talk about male-female romantic relationships, but we'll just also touch a little bit on just or relationships, because I feel like relationships are everywhere, right? We have relationships at work, we have relationships with friends, with family, but the main thing we're going to talk about is obviously the romantic relationship.
I see.
Were there any warning signs? Was there any point where you were a red flag?
Maybe I was a yellow.
Okay.
Yellow flag,
Tell us, Mr. Yellow Flag.
All the way red.
Tell us, Mr. Yellow Flag.
I really need to think. How have you really just thrown me?
Okay, maybe I could start.
Yeah, maybe start.
Okay. A time when I was a red flag. I think there were red flags in our relationship the first time we dated for me, because one, I wasn't good at communicating. Two, I was very driven up by what people say. Like I couldn't like have my own opinion on stuff. It was always like, what do other people thinking about this relationship that I'm in? And I think that was such a very big red flag, because there was no opportunity for my feelings and for me to shine, and you couldn't even get to know me, because everything that I was doing was kind of being dictated by what will other people think. So I think those are two red flags that come to mind. Is overcommitting to someone who doesn't want to commit to your red flag.
Yeah, it's a problem.
It's a problem, right?
Yeah. You know what I think it is? I think I have a problem with the term red flag.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
I feel like in people's minds, red flag is, like you said, like, anyway, from not even like one is like, this is a problem, you better not go forward. You know what I mean? And like people say like, oh, like you didn't see the red flags, now you're in problems. So I mean, I would go even like everything you've said, like yellow flags. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there are certain things that you can change and you can work on, right? And I guess that was like my red flag for me is also like not like having a hard time. I still have a hard time, right? Like communicating stuff that I don't like or uncomfortable things, you know what I mean? And someone would deem that like, oh, it's a red flag because no, he can't communicate when he's not happy, when he's not shining, you know what I mean? That's like, oh, cut it off before things get worse, you know what I mean?
But that's the thing about me. Like, that's the thing for me. I don't think red flags mean cut it off.
But I feel like the people see red flags as, oh, you need red flag. You need Didn't you see the red flag? You know what I mean?
Okay, so for the purpose of this channel, I think we agree that a red flag can, like, it can mean, it can, like, it's like, I want to go back to wording, like it's a big light showing us that something is not right.
Not that.
No, but it can be worked on. I mean, maybe there are other things that can't be worked on, but it shouldn't be like a whole thing. Like, once there's a red flag, it's like cut it off and we can't work on it, right? It's just something that's showing us that stuff needs to be worked on. I mean, we wouldn't be here if we didn't work on the things that I'm calling red flags, right? Yeah.
Okay, then I guess for my understanding, that's right. So there are some things that are like negotiable. There are things you can work through, but I also feel like there are just some certain things where it's like I wouldn't even advise someone like, okay, no, you know, that whole thing for even like if someone is not saved, it's like, no, I'll be in a relationship with them, I'll pray for them, like, just don't do it. You know what I mean? Like, you can't start a relationship on that foundation. Leave them alone. Let them find Jesus. If they find Jesus, hallelujah, and they're still single. You know what I mean? But so I feel like there are certain things that are like non-negotiable, and there are certain things where like there's room for growth. So I guess even like with that in mind, I've sort of already said one of my red flags was
what? Not being able to communicate.
Not being able to communicate. I think there's even like in previous relationships, right? I'm just zalaling myself now, spilling all the beans. But I think one thing that I've also learned, like in my communication, is like I'm someone who really values like God's input in my life, and so like in everything, even like in our decision, first of all, just to date, and even to move to the next step of marriage, like God was involved in everything. And so like even now in like my previous relationships is if I just feel like, okay, here God has tuned me sat, I feel like now my communication of that comes out a bit like those guys who say, no, God told me, and like I was one of those people.
Yeah.
And I feel like that for me was also like a red flag to say, because I feel like if someone told that story from that point, it's like, this guy told me that God told me.
said no.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
it's like you're sort of shifting the responsibility off of yourself and saying, look, it's God.
Yeah.
It's not me. And I feel like I had to learn through that. And
And I think I met you. Well, I remember meeting you in that phase. I mean, because backstory for those that may not know, but our story is like on this channel. Like we got to know each other more because of dysfunctional relationships we were in prior to us getting together. And you were saying this whole thing of I don't have peace being with this person. I remember thinking to myself like, why do you also just say that have peace? Like being with me, I was like, I was really thinking when
I mean, you see that's even better. You know what I mean? Because like legit. Like, and I feel like like that's how God and like the Holy Spirit communicate. You can be about to make a decision and you just have no peace about it. Yeah. And I feel like that's helped me guide my decisions. But I feel like the problem is in now my communicating that. You know what I mean? It's now shifting the blame per se. But like even like with us and our relationship, I mean, I had peace. Even like if you followed our story, there's a period where we broke up, right? Yeah. And I still had peace, but we didn't navigate stuff properly. You know what I mean? And it was there at least I didn't say no, me God, because no, on God's end we were fine. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And we really had to work on those dysfunctions to really break off of that. But I feel like, have I ever brought up God and said that no, God told me that for us?
Like God has said no peace? Or...
No, not never no peace. But like in terms of like when it comes to like making a decision
about us, I think you have.
And I said, God told me ABCD and then do it.
Okay, I can't remember.
Because I feel like I've like since then I'm a bit like more intentional. Even if yes, we do listen to God, we do listen to the Holy Spirit, we have a relationship with Him. Yeah. But I mean, like we've faced certain decisions where like we've prayed about certain things, like even moving out and whatever. Yeah. I've not once come and said that I feel like God wants us to go to. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, let's talk it out. I can tell you my points. We can pray about it. But like, I'm very intentional about saying God said boom when it comes to like making a decision. Because one, it does come off manipulative. But two, again, the same thing of I'm now removing the responsibility off of me when I should be taking responsibility. Yeah, I
hear you. Okay, on the aspect.
Why you want to You're looking sus.
No, I'm just listening and learning. But on the topic of like the whole peace thing, I feel like what happens if one person has peace, another person doesn't have peace? I'll say this because in I don't know if I should call it a relationship, but thing that I was in, or I don't know if I was in, I don't know what it was. I feel like, and I'll just like be vulnerable. I feel like for like the major part of it, I felt like I had peace about the thing, but the other person, I don't know if it's not having peace or they just didn't want me, I don't know, but that was also a red flag, which in hindsight, I'm looking back like, okay, but Lydia, what were you thinking? Like this person was just like, I don't want to say leading you on, but like keeping you around. Yeah. And you know the situation I'm talking about. Do you think that's what it was? It kind of felt like for me, I had peace about the situation. I was like, this is it. Yeah. But then it just felt like this person is just keeping me around. And you can tell. And I think that's a very big red flag. Yeah. Like, there's no... What? There's no... Commitment, yes. There's no commitment, communication, and then it's like me, I was the one who wanted to drive things. I think, I don't know. But looking back, I'm like, girl, why didn't you see that? Yeah, the funny part actually is that I remember even telling you, like, I asked this person, like, can you, like, give me some sort of assurance that, you feel this way or what? And the person point blank said, no. And then here I am still feeling like, okay, but I feel like I have peace over this, but like, there's no commitment from the other person. And the funny thing is that I feel like everyone around me could see it except me. Yeah, and that's the thing.
That's also a red flag on your part.
I was the Lulu.
Yeah. And at the same time, I mean, even like the whole thing of like having peace about it, I don't think relates to like perfection in any way.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe you can have peace about it and like God is telling you, this person is cool, whatever. But at the end of the day, like the responsibility of, and even just the choice, right, is still yours.
Yeah.
So in that situation, if the person doesn't want, it doesn't make them bad or wrong. You know what I mean? It just is
what it is. Yeah. And and I feel like we kind of can, like, when you're in it, even though like when looking back it's like so obvious, but I feel like when you're in it, like that's like it's there, the lack of commitment, the lack of like being assured, the lack of like when you can just tell when someone is just keeping you around. And I've actually spoken to a few people like who've been in situations like that, where like it's just like they're not saying what it is, but they just want you to be like to stay around. And I feel like we shouldn't play ourselves. Like if you can see like this is what it is, I think it would help you avoid a lot of heartache and by just whilst it's still like shallow and you haven't gone in deep, because sometimes it would even go on for like 2 years of the person just keeping you around, and then now you as the one who's seeing like a future for it, you're the one who's going to be heartbroken when things don't work out, and you find the person moves on, so that's a big red flag. Like someone just not being able to show commitment or not even being able to tell you what it is like a huge red flag.
I think a couple of red flags for me, I think, would be one, like you're not a Christian. And like growing up, you hear a lot of these things like, don't be unequally yoked, don't I don't know if you heard those things growing up in church, like if you're looking for someone to date and whatever, make sure there's someone in church. It just sort of felt like, obviously duh. But then I think like growing up, and you sort of start seeing why, right? Like even like just as with our 1.5 years of marriage, it's like seeing how fundamental faith is. Whew, guys, like it's such a big deal, because a lot of decisions that you make will be based off of your faith. And even when God calls you to do certain things, obviously you're one with your partner, you have to communicate those things, and then if they are not of the same faith, it becomes like there just becomes this friction, and now they're just constantly arguing because they're not seeing things on the same page. And like it's just for the long run, like faith plays a huge role. How are you gonna raise your kids? And others, what do you even believe about kids? What do you know what I mean? It's so big, it's so huge, it governs your life. And I guess even like another thing I would call like a red flag is like if you don't agree on like the big stuff. I know, like obviously when you're dating, you talk about a lot of things. I mean, I like this, man, like this. You differ on a lot of things, but like if you don't agree on the big stuff, like kids, right? I feel like that's like, don't even negotiate. Like you've heard what they've said. They don't want children. You want, and it's like they'll change their minds. No. What if they don't change their minds? I feel like those are like the big things. And then I guess red flags that like could be worked on. We can talk to them. We can negotiate with them. Sort of like the things like even like what you mentioned, like you can tell that the person is genuine and whatever, but there's a problem of like putting too much weight on what people think, putting too much weight on what people say. And again, like no one is perfect, and like, red flags, green flags. If you say, oh, green flag, doesn't mean that person again is totally perfect. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I feel like there's those things that you can talk through, because you don't know at what point you're meeting this person in their journey.
Yeah.
And even like part of the big things of why marriage, what makes marriage is this person who's in your life. And I always tell people is like you are privileged to know someone's flaws.
Yeah.
Because in marriage, like, you are together, your whole lives are like this, and if you're gonna be like this with a human being, you are gonna be privileged to see both their good and their bad. Not everyone is gonna be able to see their bad. You can have friends, you can have best friends, you can have what, but not everyone is going to be as privileged as your spouse to see your down moments. And it's what you do with that privilege that God has given you to see that person's ugly sides is what makes a marriage. Because you're supposed to help, first of all, cover those things and help to help that person grow.
Yeah.
Is what I'd say. Yeah. So
yeah, I totally agree. And I think even some of the things that are like coined or labeled red flags, like even the things that we said, like obviously, as you said, like everyone is a work in progress. So even as you said, like certain things, we may have even carried them into our marriage. Obviously, we're better now, but they're still there.
Exactly.
And we still need to work on them. It doesn't mean that because you've crossed over to marriage, like you stop working on the things that you once struggled with. And for me, I think I was gonna say it under green flags. I think, like, just to tie into the point I'm just from saying, I think one of the biggest green flags for me is just someone who's willing to put in the work, like whether work on themselves or work. Like, never stop working on the relationship.
Correct.
What is one of the red flags? Okay, I don't know how to. My English is coming out properly. Okay, are you able to tell us one of the red flags you ignored in a past relationship?
The fact that I'm married to you now goes to show that I didn't ignore.
Okay, so you've never ignored a red flag and just gone to, like, to a point where it just ended up being, and it doesn't have to be me. You've been in many relationships before me. Okay, not many, but you've been in relationships before me. Don't just limit it to me. Like, yeah.
Okay, I really need to go back. I think, really old relationship. I think one red flag that I ignored was, I think, like, taking their spiritual life, like, for granted, and like just, sort of just like trusting, oh, like, yeah, I know they're Christian like me or whatever, and it's just, oh, they're just struggling, and I feel like looking back now, it's like, bruh, like, you knew. The same thing for, you saw the signs, and like, even just like lifestyle was totally different. And I felt like I just ignored that until. Why
do you think you ignored it? Was it like because you loved the person, or like you loved the idea of being with the person, or you wanted to be in a relationship much? Like what?
I think it was the idea of being with the person, and I feel like even. I think I took it for granted, with also just like, I took it lightly. They'll get it right. You know what I mean? We're all imperfect, and yeah. I think that was it. I think it's the belief that you can change them.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I feel like that's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for mine, I think the example I gave before, I think the reason I stayed with the person is because I had built up this thing in my head of what the person I want to be with, like the term of it should be a relationship of this sort, like a best friend relationship, even though like those qualities are not actually there, but just in the name. Like, I really liked the idea of what that looked like, and that's what kept me like, it has to be like this. And for me, growing up, like, I had very strict rules of like what it should be because I watched too much TV, and so then reality hits you, and then you get to see that life isn't just like, it's not linear. It's not like one step to the other. Like, you learn and you grow. Yeah, do you think having a female best friend or a best friend of an opposite sex is a red flag when you're in a relationship with someone?
Yeah, I think so. I think
Really?
it's... Yeah. I think... if I'm a male bestie, if you're a male bestie, bright.
And this is just your perspective, right?
I just feel like, even like just for the sake of integrity, right? And even like just what integrity is not like, I'm doing the right thing publicly and privately, but it's also what it looks like is also part of integrity. There's a certain level of closeness that, like, if it looks wrong, it's also a problem. You know what I mean? If, let's say, so I'll just give an example for, like, at my church, right? So every office has like a glass door. So there's no office that's got like a closed door with just my windows in the top, like. And I just thought, it's the aesthetic, it's the design of the church. Just like Mama glass, so like must see through. It's done intentionally so that, one, there's no thinking involved. No one can think that, why has the pastor gone with that woman in there? Why? Even if yes, they're for sure legit, they're just praying. But what it looks like, also, you know what I mean? So for the sake of just maintaining your integrity as a person, you don't want to look like you're doing whatever, which, for me, this whole male opposite sex bestie, that's why it just doesn't make sense. Okay. Because only you alone can account for it. That's the rest who are watching. We can't know. We can assume left, we can assume right. It's like, I feel like even if you are a genuine person and that friendship is genuine, I feel like that's where also boundaries come in. Yeah. Yeah, so if people around, just normal people, can say that, boundaries have to be made.
Okay, I hear you. And like on that, I remember when we got together, like, because I really wanted to marry my best friend. And then I remember telling him, like, we're my best friend, and he said no. Remember that you said no to me, that you're not my best friend? Yeah.
I mean, I was being honest. Yeah. I didn't want to lie. Yeah.
And that's another thing, like the reality of things, right? Because I had this thing painted in my head, like it has to be a best friend. Me too. And but we hadn't yet gotten to that level of actually saying that we're actually best friends. But in the moment, it stung, like it hurt. Like when I was like, I was like, I just want to carry this title, even though yes, like at that point we were getting along, everything was good, nothing was bad, but we just hadn't got to that point where I could say that this is my best friend, and it didn't happen automatically. Like there's work that needs to be put in, and now I can say, are you my best friend? Positive. Affirmate, you know what I mean? Yeah. And even just, just to provide like more context, I felt like, even like for me, like I believe the same thing. Yeah. And like you said, like I just felt like we weren't there, because I felt like there's other people who know me like way better than you do. Yeah. But I mean, obviously there's something that we've seen in each other that we like, and we've, like, so it's like, I know, you know what, let's build from there. It's a journey. You can't just know everything that people have known for like the past 5 years in like 2 months. And it's like, let's build it. Let's get there. If it gets there, well and good. You know what I mean? And you could see how attached I was to that idea of it, her best friend, like best friend, even if it's my best friend well, even if that's not the reality. Exactly, like for me, it just had to be I feel like it's also what you do when you discover whatever flag it is. Yeah. If you are just going to treat and associate this person with that flag, that's also wrong. Right? Because at the end of the day, we are not the things we do, or like the stuff we discover. Like I said, you don't know at what point you've met this person in their journey. Maybe they just honestly don't know. Yeah, or they don't know better at the time you met them in their journey. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so, like, for example, you're dating this person and you're obviously having different conversations, and it comes up to say, okay, I don't believe like abortion is necessarily wrong. You know what I mean? And they're just that's genuinely what they think, and they don't have any other information around that to think otherwise. And then for you, there's like, we all know the abortion. No, I can't. Instead of you giving them the information that they need
to help make that decision of is abortion right or wrong. You just sort of cut people off, and I feel like that's not wrong, because now you're going to be labeling them as, oh, these people just think abortion is ABCD and ABCD, without having that conversation. So yeah, I feel like we need to have grace on how we approach people when we discover red flags or things that are uncomfortable for us, or things that we just deem, I don't like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think also, as you said, like just being able to find healthy ways to go around the red flags when you come or stumble on them or come across them. Healthy ways to communicate and like see if this is something that can become a yellow flag and then a green flag, you know, just to see if these are things that can actually be worked on, rather than dismissing people at the point where we find something that, you know,
we don't like.
I mean, as you said, there are those non-negotiables of like, maybe someone is violent. If someone hits you, like, I don't know, like they need to get help. You know, there are certain things you need to step out of the relationship for someone to get help. Obviously, it's situational.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's also important just to have healthy ways of like, you know, okay, there's this warning sign. I'm not able to communicate well. What are we going to do? Am I going to work on myself? And I think one thing like about relationships is that because like, you know, the nature, it's a relationship, it will call for you to work on yourself.
Exactly.
And working on yourself, it hurts sometimes. Like it's not fun to hear like, you're not good at communicating. It's not fun to hear that, oh, you're self-centered, or you know, like these things. Like sometimes certain things, light will be shown on certain things when there's another person who's close and like can see like, oh, you know, this is this and that is that. But I think for me, that's why the biggest green flag is just being able to want to work on yourself and want to work on the relationship, because at the end of the day, you need to put in the work for something to grow and be beautiful. You need to cultivate. When it comes to like a plant growing, you need to water it, you need to, you know, put the fertilizer, like then things grow. So like there's work that goes into relationships.
I agree with you. And like you said, you need to put in the work for the relationship to grow, but I mean, even just for yourself to grow, you need to put in the work. You know what I mean? If you're not investing in yourself, you want to grow, and sometimes that's uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Even from like everything, like just your physical well-being, like you need to work out. It's uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, it helps you become better. And I feel like you've really said it all. But even like, I don't know why I'm leaning a lot on like just even how we treat the flags we see. You know what I mean? It's like the closer you are to someone, you're going to see them. You know what I mean? The closer you get with someone, you will see the red flags. Before, when you just saw them and you liked how they looked, you didn't know anything about them. It was wow. You took steps to start getting to know them. Oh, talking. You start identifying differences. Oh, maybe we don't like this thing. Oh, they don't like this thing. You get into a relationship, you discover more. You get married, you discover more. You know what I mean? It's like the closer you are, the more you get to see the blemishes, the more you get to see the stains. And how you deal with that is very important, because especially like if you're in the dating phase, because in marriage, you're still gonna find them. And so learning how to deal with them, and with grace and truth, obviously, will definitely help you in the long run. As we end, one question to both of us is, what advice would you give your past self about spotting red or green flags? Okay, I can start whilst you're thinking. For me, I think even just like having this conversation and like reflecting on everything, I think I would give myself I would advise myself. Oh, the English is not doing the English is not Englishing. The English is not Englishing.
I would go back and tell myself to look at life in color. Like it shouldn't just be black and white and things should go this way. I think I would have avoided a lot of the disappointment and hurt from the relationships if I gave myself grace to see that people are just people, and you know, people are not perfect. And so, yeah, like, because for me, I think, like, I just flew over the red flags. Like, I just flew over there. But yeah, I think, just being able to tell myself, like, people will disappoint you. People are not perfect. People are going through their own stuff. Like, people have their own trauma. People were raised differently. Even in marriage, we've seen that we've been raised differently. And, like, we just need to give each other grace. And so for me, I would tell myself that, like, see things for what they are and just give people grace, give yourself grace. Things don't have to be perfect. And that's the advice I would give myself.
Yes. I think I would give my younger self, Lil Josh, if you're watching this. Guard your heart. Yes. Like it's very important to guard your heart. Like you said, not everyone is perfect. We're all not perfect, and sometimes our imperfections hurt people. So guard yourself, guard your heart, but at the same time, with the same realization that even you are not perfect, give people the same grace that you would want to receive. Because at the end of the day, like you said, I've been a red flag. You've been a red flag, and now that we realize, oh snap, I was in the wrong, we would want to receive some grace to say, okay, look, I didn't know better. I should have handled this better or whatever. The same way we would want to receive that grace, let's extend the same grace. In as much as we are protecting ourselves and guarding our hearts, let's extend grace as well.
I love that. You're so wise. You're such a wise man. Oh my gosh, but thank you so much for having this conversation.
Call again.
This was fun. Again. And thank you for even opening up about your past. Also thank me for opening up about my past.
Lastly, I want to thank me for believing in me.
Yeah, because I just strongly believe that, you know, everything we've been through, obviously, when we get through things, it's for us not to make the same mistakes. Obviously, it makes us better, but we shouldn't be quiet. We have an opportunity to help others and help other people not make better decisions and not go through the things that we went through. So thank you for that. We do not take it for granted. We appreciate you being here, and we love you. I mean, I love you.
Correct. Thank you. Could I just say like one last thing? If you're a red flag and you're watching this, and you know, because I feel like sometimes we also identify by what people tell us. You know what I mean? This one's a playboy. And you sort of now start to walk in that because now you've identified as, I'm a playboy, I'm a problem. People need to know that I'm for gozas and whatnot. Like, don't believe that, first of all. And put in the work to grow. We're all learning. No one is perfect. Put in the work to grow. Start, like spending time with God. Like really just invest in yourself and don't just believe everything that people say, even the negative. Even if sometimes, yes, you have acted that way, that shouldn't define you. You know what I mean? So like always turn to God to find who you are, because I mean, before I start preaching, he made you. He knows who you are.
No, that's so true. That's so true. Like, we're not the things we do. The things we do never define us. We are called by God. We are defined by who God has called us to be. And so, yes, we may have done things, but those things will never ever define us. And so, as you said, like, let's not also take joy in being red flags. Let's take joy in being the green.
Exactly. Like I love what you said. Like, what you do doesn't define you. But what you do exposes what you believe about yourself. So just take it as that. So I mean, you can watch your actions because you can look back and see what decisions you've made, and it really paints a picture of what you believe about yourself, the things you say, the things you do, and then from there. You need to change what you believe about yourself. And we all get better, and as we get better, everyone around us is better. We impact people's lives positively, and it's just a chain effect. So
Thank you guys so much for watching.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Share this video to a green flag and a red flag. If you enjoyed it, leave a comment. Let us know what's up.
Yeah. And we're currently on the road to 1K. Can I say that?
So we're officially on the road to 1K subscribers. Want to start a change. So
we'll carry all of you with us. But no, thanks everybody for keeping this family going and growing. And let's continue to just leave comments. We always want to hear from you. So please don't just leave us a comment. Let's chat in the comment section and do share. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Peace.